Okay, this is Michael Pepper for MMABay.co.uk, powered by Tap Out, with legendary five-time UFC champion and Hall of Famer Randy the Natural Couture. Thanks for joining us today, Randy.
You bet. Thank you.
So you've got a big fight coming up on November the 14th. You return to the UFC light heavyweight division for the first time since 2006. How's the training gone ahead of the fight, and has it been any more difficult cutting weight this time than you remember?
Training has gone fantastic, and I haven't really had to cut weight. My diet has been the same. I think back-to-back camps, my weight came off very, very easy. I'm walking around at about 215, which is 10 over. So right where I want to be. It's perfect.
Okay, you've obviously fought a lot of top heavyweights across the years and a lot of big guys. With the recent influx in the big wrestlers at the top end of the UFC heavyweight division, the likes of Shane Carwin and Brock Lesnar, has that had anything to do with your decision to drop to 205 pounds?
It was more about opportunity. I think I've competed with those bigger guys and been doing just fine. Obviously, it'll be nice to be back with guys my own size and not have to deal with the disparaging weight difference and size difference, and kind of eliminates some of those strategic situations that you don't want to get in with guys that big. But I think the opportunity arose to compete back at 205. There's some interesting fights there. The heavyweight division is getting deeper. I mean, there's Velasquez and Carwin and Lesnar and a lot of guys that are big. They're not just big heavyweights. They're very good fighters, very good athletes. So all around it makes sense for me to be at 205 right now.
You will be facing the talented Muay Thai specialist Brandon Vera at UFC 105 in Manchester, England. How did the fight come about? What made you accept the fight? And are you excited about fighting overseas for the first time in over 8 years?
Well, the main event for that card kind of fell apart. Rampage took a movie deal, and Rashad really wanted to fight Rampage, and is kind of going to wait until Rampage comes back and get a shot at him, which left me and Brandon willing to step up and kind of be the main event for that card. And to be live on Spike TV and to be fighting in the UK was a big deal, I think, for both of us.
Okay, you've talked about solving the problem during the fight in the build-up to this one. What do you see the problem when you're facing someone like Brandon Vera, and how do you plan to solve it on the night?
Well, the problem is going to be distance with Brandon. He likes to keep his range and find his rhythm, and he's a good striker. He likes to switch leads, and he's got a great low kick and a high kick, especially from his southpaw lead. So it's up to me to kind of close that distance and pressure him and get my hands on him and not allow him to find that rhythm and range.
Okay, with Lyoto Machida and his friend and training partner Anderson Silva running through many of the top fighters in the 205-pound division, in effect clearing the way for many fighters, do you feel this is the perfect time for you to mount another challenge for the 205-pound title?
Yeah, I think it's a good time to be in the mix there. There's some very interesting guys. Shogun just did a great job with Machida. Machida's at the top of the heap right now. Anderson's been dallying around in the 205-pound class. Just fought Forrest, who's a guy I train with regularly. So there's some very interesting fights at 205.
Okay, I wanted to talk to you about the fight with Forrest and Anderson. What do you think went wrong for him that night, and would you be interested in a potential fight with Anderson Silva at some point?
Well, I think Anderson would be a great fight. I've been impressed watching him and his style. He's so accurate and smooth on his feet. I think that style-wise, it was a tough matchup for Forrest. Forrest is a brawler and a very aggressive fighter, and that kind of played into the countering style of Anderson. And we kind of hoped that Forrest would be able to catch him and kind of get him out of sync, but it didn't really work in Forrest's behalf.
Okay, much controversy arose from the last UFC pay-per-view, which saw Lyoto Machida square off with Mauricio Shogun Rua. What was your opinion on the outcome of the fight, and do you see a rematch as the fairest course of action?
I'd certainly like to see a rematch. I thought Shogun won the fight. It was a very close fight. Sometimes you just don't know what the judges are seeing. I'd heard some comments from judges afterwards that they didn't give much credence to the leg kicks, and I think that's kind of an uneducated view our sport, and not realizing the kind of damage that those low kicks do to a guy and how they affect your mobility and hurt. And I think it was apparent by the third round in the Machida fight. He was definitely affected by the low kicks, the countering leg kicks that Shogun was using. So, in a fight that close, that kind of damage has to be accounted for on the scorecard. And I had it, if I was scoring it, I had it 4-1 for Shogun.
Okay. You stated a while back, a couple of years ago, the only fight that really made any sense to you was to face Fedor Emelianenko. Fast forwarding to today, what are the fights that drive Randy Couture to still compete inside the octagon?
Well, there's a lot of interesting guys. I kind of came to terms with the whole Fedor situation and the Fedor fight, and I'm reasonably sure that's probably never going to happen. And I know he's getting ready to fight this weekend against Brett Rogers. It'll be interesting to see how that goes. And he's still a fun fighter to watch. He's very explosive and very dynamic. But there's a ton of great guys and a lot of the top fighters in the world in the UFC and both the 205-pound and heavyweight divisions in Ultimate Fighting.
Okay, I also want to ask you a little bit about your involvement in the EA Sports MMA game, which is due out next year. Can you give us a little insight on why you picked that title over the UFC's own title? Why the promotion's attitude towards your inclusion in the game is very different to other fighters, and what can the fans expect from the game when it hits the shelves?
I didn't pick one over the other. I was, kind of out of the UFC when the EA opportunity came along and signed the deal with EA, and EA's taking care of me very, very well to be a part of the game and be in the game, and that was an exclusive deal that precluded me from being involved in the UFC game. I think the EA game is going to be very interesting. I think it's going to take a cerebral approach to mixed martial arts. You're going to be able to kind of sharpen specific tools and travel around from place to place to get very specific training and competition to lead into a fight in the game. And I think it's going to be very, very, very well done. EA is known, for being the kind of leader in sports video games. So I'm excited to get to do some of the work with that game.
Okay, I also understand you've just recently launched your own brand of natural supplements. Can you tell us a little bit about them and how they differ from other products on the market?
The XCAP supplement line, which stands for Extreme Couture Athletic Pharmaceuticals, is something I've been using for about 2 years. I started getting my blood chemistry checked with a doctor here, and him and I partnered up on private labeling a line of supplements through XCAP that are all pharmaceutical grade supplements. So if we say there's whey protein in the supplement, it's been assayed and tested, and exactly what we say is in there is in there. There's no crap. And I think in the last 2 years, it's really made a big difference in me physically. I'm leaner at a higher weight. I get more out of my workouts and more out of my body than I have in the past. And it's been a very, very good line, and we're excited to kind of get a chance to roll it out to everybody now. You can get their blood tested and kind of see chemically where they're at, where their hormones and all those other things that are going on in your body are, and what supplements you really need and which ones you don't need, and which dietary things you need to kind of stay away from, and all those things come out in the blood test. So it's kind of a little more scientific approach to taking supplements and not just buying a bunch of crap that's marketed well in a whole in a supplement store.
Okay. Are there any other sponsors or anything else you'd like to mention before we finish?
No, I think we're good. Obviously, we've got the new book coming out in the UK this month with Simon & Schuster, Becoming the Natural, my autobiography. And I'm excited about that. We're doing a book signing on Sunday after the fight. Everlast and the clothing and equipment line with Everlast has been doing very, very well. We're doing an appearance the week of the fight in Manchester as well for Everlast.
Okay, it's been an honour to talk to you, Randy. I'd like to thank you for giving up your valuable time to speak with us tonight, and wish you good luck at UFC 105.
Thanks, bud. Appreciate it.